do next after graduation, we understand that some of you after graduation would want to pursue a career, a specific career, while some others would want to further their studies, probably do a master's or a PhD. And then to some others, they're already doing business or they are business inclined and they plan to start up their own business or go into entrepreneurship. So that's why the Fireside Chat covers all these areas. Whichever decision you want to make after graduation, it covers all these areas. So basically, there's not so much structure to it. It's just an informal conversation. So we'll have three of our facilitators, one from career, the other person from entrepreneurship, and then the last person, an academic, introduce themselves. And then if you have questions, you have to wait till the end of the class or till the end of the discussion, or I will have to alert you when to ask your questions. So you can drop your questions as text message. So upon introduction, if you have any question you're targeting at a particular facilitator, you ask the person directly. So first of all, I will love Raphael to introduce himself. We have Raphael Akinte. Hello, Raphael, nice to have you here. So can you quickly introduce yourself to the audience?
Work as well. And right now, I also focus on helping people get jobs.
Hello, Raphael.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, please. You need to start all over again. You were actually on mute.
Oh, I thought you were meeting me. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. All right. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Akinte Raphael Abiodun, and I am the Stand Learning and Talent Manager for Africa for PZ Cussons. So we manage the business in Africa, basically, and I'm responsible for learning and people development, managing talent within the organization. Outside that, I do NGO work, so which spans around advocacy for children living well, and then I'm also a youth advocate. I have interest in politics, so if you see me in my poster sometimes later, know that I told you before. Thank you.
Okay, Chizoba, back to you.
All right, thank you, Raphael. So Raphael will be talking to us about what it takes to start up a career as a graduate, whilst the next facilitator we have here is Ese Oghaghare. You have to forgive me if I murdered the name, so I'm not from your side. So Ese Oghaghare is a PhD holder, a PhD student in the United States of America. So Ese, may we have you introduce yourself, please?
All right, good morning from New York. If you can hear me, everyone?
Yes.
Good. Thank you very much for having me around. Well, you did well, Cheesy. You did well, but I will introduce myself again. I call my name properly. I'm S.A. Freeman Oghaghare. I'm a Deltan. I'm from Delta State. My first degree from Delta State University, where I backed the degree in biochemistry. Went on to University of Ibadan. Before then, I did a food science technology postgraduate diploma at Obafemi Awolowo University. I went to University of Ibadan, where I had my first master's in public health, and that was in environmental health sciences. Then to the United States for another master's in public health. Here I majored in health promotion education, and also now I'm into my PhD at University of Albany, New York, where I'm majorly focusing on food insecurity and environmental sustainability. I also do run an NGO before I left Nigeria, which is my baby, because I was much into, I was formerly the Strategic Knowledge Manager at International Center for Advocacy on the Right to Health in Abuja, where I was the Strategic Knowledge Manager and managed some grants very successfully. Went on to start off my own organization, and it's called the Health Advancement Initiative for Women and Children. You'll be knowing much more about me as the program goes on. I wouldn't want to give a very, very long introduction. I think that's a good way to start.
Thank you very much, Buzz. Okay, so back to you.
so we have the last person, Palitia. So I would have Paliti. I've called this name like several times. So I would have him introduce himself and
Okay. So where is Paliti here? Okay. I can't seem to see Paliti on my list. Is he in?
I saw that name earlier on, but I don't know if it's still on.
Paliti. Okay. Paliti, please, can you send a message, like a generic message, if you are on, so that I can note either the phone or the name, because I can't see your name. So it's difficult to know which of your video to spotlight.
Okay, I think he's having some network challenges. So while we wait for him to come, we'll just have to
Okay,
continue.
yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. So Mr. Raphael,
Yes.
I have one or two questions for you, and I believe I'll be asking on behalf of the masses or on behalf of the students. So first of all, you'd have to tell us what you studied and how you pivoted into HR, because most of us in school right now, we are doing some courses we plan not to practice. So can you tell us what inspired you and what you studied and how?
Okay, thank you very much, Mitchell. Actually, I studied microbiology at the University of Benin, and but I think initially I wanted to be a doctor. I love doing things around people, helping people get better, so to say. So I actually wanted to be a doctor, but you know, as they say in the Nigerian parlance, university did not give me medicine, so they gave me microbiology. So I studied microbiology. But then before I got into school, I was a very late comer. I wrote JAMB for about 5 years. Not that I was failing, but then I was not getting admission. And so because I wasn't getting admission and I was just at home and I didn't want to settle for anything like a polytechnic, I insisted I wanted to go to a university, and it has to be a federal university. So I started teaching, and I was teaching biology. So even people I thought, some of them graduated before I did. Some of them were in school already, and then I was still at home, I was still teaching, and the rest of them. But then, so I discovered my passion for people development right from there. So I love teaching, I love impacting knowledge. So when I finished school, while I was in school, I already made a point of duty to try to channel a path for me to go. And I didn't see how microbiology was going to work in Nigeria. I think for students, it is good for you to begin to scan the markets right now and then look at the future of work, and then try to relate what you're doing right now to what the society really needs, what our country really needs. There is the principle of the town and the gown. The gown is the school, the town is the society. So the gown you're wearing or you're about to wear, is it going to be able to affect the town in any way? So I was able to scan that, and then I told myself I wasn't going to do this. I wasn't going to do microbiology. So even before I graduated, right from my year 3, I knew I was not going to be practicing microbiology. But I didn't know anything about HR. So when I left school, I came to Lagos, and then I was in a program, AGDC. Thank God for people. I knew people who knew people. For example, myself and EldaDavid met at AGDC. We were in school, we were close in school, but we met during the AGDC program. And then we had a third friend, God bless, which I think some of you would know. Bless was a program manager for AGDC then, so he was able to facilitate our gaining admission into the AGDC program. So the AGDC is after school graduate development program. I was sponsored by the then Lagos State Governor, Raji Fashola. So after the program, or during the program, I began to see the different aspects of work, and I began to see the way I could actually go. We did an assessment that was called the personal profiling. So it helps you profile what is you can do, the areas you can work, and the rest of them. So I saw people development, and I knew exactly that was where I should be. So I did an internship with Accenture Nigeria. I was retained for a longer period than usual, and that was how I found myself in HR, doing people development, learning and development, basically. So I always knew I was going to do something around people development, but I wasn't sure where it was going to be, whether I was going to be totally consulting, because I was in consulting for some years before I moved into mainstream industry. So that was how I got myself into HR and learning and development specifically.
Interesting. I want to believe your story resonates with someone here right now. So, and something I don't want to say now is the undertone hustle. I really heard it while you were talking about yourself and how your career journey has been. You actually hustled, Sha, for the lack of the right choice of word. So, I believe the story you shared resonates with someone here. So by the time we get to the question, somebody who can ask a specific question. So I'll have to run to essay. So Miss I say, while I was in school, I'll use myself as an example. While I was in school, I wanted to do my master's immediately, do my PhD, and everything at a very young age. But life happened. So what do you have to say to someone whose plan is just to attain PhD level, but have some constraint or something? How were you able to do it? Was it by scholarship? Okay, if there's no scholarship, how else can we do it without any obstacle?
All right, thank you very much. I was waiting for the unmute button to go off. Raphael Akinte, I think I resonate with it seems we do have a common tragedy. However, I was also at home for a very long time, most especially when you find in our generation, my time, persons doing biochemistry, biology, talking about 2008, 2009. Uh, Most of us were medical inclined students who never got in. We find ourselves in biochemistry. I never liked biochemistry as a course because it was very abstract. I didn't find a place in the society, like you would say. When I graduated, a lot of people have a misconception about what biochemistry was. They felt it was biology and chemistry, and so very likely you want to see persons referring to you as, okay, what school will you be teaching biology or chemistry? And yes, I ended up being a teacher for so many years, earning 16,000 naira. Quite precisely, I asked myself, just like you, Raphael, coming to your question, ask yourself, is this what I'm going to be doing all my life, teaching 16,000 naira, doing home lessons till 10 o'clock in the evening, and all I could was 70,000? I said, no, this is not for me. And I was thinking deep, what else can I do? But I had good friends who were able to help me on my career in a new path. And that's where I'm coming to in answering your question, Cheesy, having mentors, in helping you to really align your career with what is feasible, just like Raphael said. Um, we have to be strategic in choosing a career and going about how to get there. There are so many obstacles, and there are different routes. Some persons may have graduated with a 2-1, some persons may have graduated with a 2-2. Your route to getting there, I mean, to the PhD or the master's program is quite very, very different. For those who are still in school, and I'm speaking to the undergrads because I understand this program is for undergraduates, you want to take this very, very seriously. Please, I want to enjoin you that you take your studies really, very seriously, because you have it very easy, and it's a straight path if you're able to at least minimum graduate with a 2-1, and the opportunities are more for persons who are second class upper degree than anyone who would graduate a 2-2. Yes, you get there, but you have to pass through a longer route like we did. And so it depends on you. What is your drive? Okay. For me, there were a lot of factors that drove me to my master's program. Like I said, I needed something better. I needed a better future. I understood. I scanned the market, like Raphael said, to understand the kind of jobs that are out there. Biochemistry in Nigeria, there are some courses, not that they're not good, right? But how do you really fit into the society? And it depends, right? Your trajectory. Like for me, I started as a biochemist, but I later found public health as a professional degree, and I understood the place of NGO. And for like working with non-governmental organizations, 3 things it does for you. It opens doors for you internationally, you're helping people, and you're impacting lives, which gives you some joy, and you're going to be earning more. So this was the balance for me. I needed this balance. I wanted to impact life. I wanted to enjoy my job while I do it, right? And I wanted to live a fulfilled life. So those were my choices when I was choosing what career path to take, and that really helped me to channel what exactly I wanted to do. And that's how I found myself in environmental health sciences, which is the core of public health. However, after graduation, I didn't really get a job as an environmentalist, even though I started a consultancy services in Ibadan. Then I later found myself doing ad hoc um, uh, placements with companies, with organizations like Population Council, and we're doing research. And that also was also an eye opener for me, where I majored into delve into research in female genital mutilation, which is one of the issues I'm pursuing today. So basically, straight to your question, how do you get it? There are 2 different paths for you to getting funding. So it's like I said, it's either you getting full funding or you may be getting fellowships. There's a distinction between funding, internal funding, and external funding. I don't know if I would want to go directly, or maybe we'll get to that level. Can I buttress further, Cheesy?
Yes, you can.
Hello?
Yes, you can.
Yeah, so for students who are undergrads, you want to be looking at traveling abroad, because I really encourage students to look beyond Nigeria if they want to go for their further studies and get that exposure. And due to financial circumstances, you may not be able to fund an education. For example, in the US, it's very, very expensive. If you're going to be paying yourself through a master's, that's very specific at public health. In the United States, it's going to cost you per semester around $2,000. And at the end of the program for 2 years, it's going to cost you about, this is without living expenses, housing expenses, feeding, just for your school fees, about $56,000. That is a lot of money. You don't want to have that kind of money, except your dad is a politician or stealing money. Anyways, so if you want to get funding, it's quite easy. You just need mentorship and know what to do, how to access funding, and you need to really start early. This is the time for you to be planning for the next fall to get full funding, which usually some of them come without no strings attached in the form of full fellowship. Some of them comes in the form of assistantship, where you may have to provide some services like research. Maybe you also come in as a teaching assistant, and in the university settings where they pay you a stipend. Sometimes it is full stipend, sometimes it's half, 10 hours per week, 20 hours per week. It's just enough to take care of your basic needs. You're able to survive. But beyond that, they don't expect you to work, because what you're coming in to do, and you told them at the embassy, was you're coming to study. So they are funding, but you have to be strategic about such fundings. And there are full funding for masters and PhD students. I will stop at this point. Chizi.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's quite enlightening what you shared. I'll come back to you because I have some questions I'll ask you, but then I'll have to ask Raphael. Raphael, it's bad enough, but it's quite unfortunate that our university curriculum does not teach us on certain things. So when we leave school and we want to get a job, we actually do not know what to do. So some of us got a job by faith, some or what people might call luck. So is there anything you can tell us now? Promise not to tell anybody, so it could be a secret. So is there anything you can tell us now that would give us an edge, like when we are leaving, what are we supposed to know? How do we position ourselves to get a job and not, yes, that's it.
Okay, I've been unmuted. Okay, thank you. Getting a job, well, first, let me say that everyone should understand that the university is so-called university because it is a universal city. It's a place that is meant to just simply Can you hear me? Okay,
Yes,
so it is a place that is actually meant to just open your mind or broaden your heart, so to say. So the fact that you have studied a particular course doesn't mean it should restrict you to looking for a job in those areas. So for example, if you study Yoruba in school, then what becomes of you? If you're so adamant or bent on the fact that then it's a course that has to be Yoruba, or if you've done something around microbiology or biochemistry like myself and essay has done. So would you say that you must do a microbiology work or you must work in a laboratory, which we don't even have many of them? So the university is actually supposed to be an eye opener, so to say, so that it can open and broaden your thinking, so to say. Now, what you must understand is what are the necessary skills that the workplace needs right now. And for every of you students listening to me, before you graduate, the number one thing you must do to position yourself, at least in the basic, is for you to understand the use of simple office tools, PowerPoint, Word, and especially Excel. Now, if you know how to use these basic tools, you can easily be taken up by any organization, and then they can train you to whatever it is they want you to do. A lot of times, organizations would usually roll out what we call graduate training program, except for maybe very professional, strictly professional courses, like say accounting, finance, and then maybe engineering. Every other field, anyone can do anything in those. So you can be an engineer and then become a tax consultant, for example. You can be, you could have maybe medicine, and then you've decided to go into sales. So usually organizations will take you up to train you to give you the right competencies and skills to the kind of roles they want to employ you for. But then in the list, you must have some basic things that you have and that you must possess. And that's what so you must have both technical and soft skills. Now, your technical skills would be majorly centered around your use of work tools. Nobody's going to be expecting you to be able to solve problems while you're just graduating. That is the truth. But they expect that at least you should be able to show some hunger that I can do this or I want to learn how to do this. So in basic, learn the use of computer appreciation, Excel, Word, PowerPoint, and then maybe some other tools like Microsoft Azure. If you can do Power BI, if you can learn those things, fine, good. It puts you in a better position. Now, outside that, there are skills that people often overlook, and that's where they have a lot of problems. Your soft skills. Your soft skills are as important as your technical skills. So a lot of times people have the right skills, they have the right competencies, and then they still write tests for organizations, and then they still come back to them as saying they failed. Now, it's not because you're not smart. Even a lot of times, people who are smart don't get to these organizations. Now, the reason is because every organization have what we call a culture, and the culture trickles down to what we call values of the organization, then they will never employ you. Do you understand that? So no matter how smart you are as an individual, if the organization perceives you as somebody who is not fitting into their culture, then they will never employ you. So I'll give you one now. Anytime you get your foot into an organization and you are invited for an interview or a personality test, make sure you do your due diligence by first of all going through the website of the organization and studying what their core values would usually be a reflection of the culture in the organization. Do we understand that? Now, if you're able to study the core values, then make sure you imbibe them. Now, the core values or the way they define their values will not naturally or be what you are used to. So for example, the way PZ will define courage will be different from the way MTN will define courage as a value. So what that means is that once you see the values or the core values for the organization, you must learn the definition. So the usual case scenario, you can reach out to anyone you know or just use your connections to get someone to help you define those questions you answer, either during the personality test or during the interview stage proper itself. You must make sure your answers are tending towards those values of the organization, because that is what can be a good fit for our organization. Now, the trick is this: you may not be very sound technically, but if you have the right value, then they will take you. So organizations prefer to train people on the what, that is on the technicalities, not the how, because they believe that what people are naturally inclined to do in terms of behavior cannot easily be overridden by training or anything. So you can be taken if you have the right attitude and not right skills, so to say. You can be obscure chance than anyone who just comes with a skill or somebody who just comes with the attitude. So one major arc is, for any interview or for any organization you're applying to, make sure you understand very well what their culture is, what their core values are, and they're able to answer questions in such a way that it will reflect the values of the organization. I think that should do it for now.
Thank you, Raphael. I think this will be the last round of questions before participants asking their questions. So over to you, Essay. I have a question for you. It's quite encompassing. First of all, this trend of NGOs, people moving to form, initiate an NGO immediately after school. Do you think, because some of them have motive that they stand the chance of traveling abroad once you started your own NGO, do you think it's a good thing, or are there chances that if you become a change maker or if you towards this path, it makes your applications or whatever your dream of travel abroad easier? Then secondly, I would love to ask, what would be advice for someone who wants to take a travel or education consulting agency? Okay, but to tread the path of education or consulting agency to getting an admission abroad? And then finally, it's about Canada, like University in Canada, who welcome students, who give students admission and welcome them to pay their fees while in Canada. So what's your advice or what's your take on some universities that do?
Okay, thank you very much. Your questions are quite broad. I'll try to be concise as much as possible. The first one borders on persons who feels establishing a non-governmental organization gives you a leverage to travel abroad. I don't know about that. Now, the motive of starting a non-governmental organization matters. Is it for the purpose of traveling or for affecting lives? For me, I'll myself as an example. Right? I didn't start mine because I wanted to travel anyways, but because I found a reason to do so. And how did that start? I give you a story. I told you I started off as an environmentalist, which I'm still into environmental studies. My research work was on greenhouse gases and management of waste management practices in livestock farms, because at the end of the day, we understand that if we don't manage our waste very well, it could, due to the way the farms are designed in Nigeria, it creates anaerobic digestion, which can exacerbate the levels of gases, most especially methane. So I was very much involved in those kind of studies. I've done a lot of studies as a private consultancy, worked with my mentor, Dr. Anna. Professor Anna is a professor. I'm sorry if he's watching this program, Professor Anna, where we did environmental impact assessment. So I was very, very much involved in environmental health assessment and studies and research and all that. However, I found myself in a non-profit where a friend recommended to Population Council. And in doing so, we were involved in female genital mutilation studies where I helped them in collecting data. And in my grandmother's community, Erie town in Delta State to be precise, and that study opened my eyes to a lot of the human, the human rights abuse women face in Nigeria as it relates to female genital mutilation. It became an interesting part of research for me, so much that when I got to ICA as the strategic knowledge manager, I came in there and I wrote a grant. I pioneered a grant. We won a $50,000 grant, and the project we did was promoting awareness for ending female genital mutilation in Nigeria. So you see my trajectory into those kind of research. And that's why when I started my own organization, you could see where the focus was: health advancement and safe initiative for women and children. So the passion behind starting a project matters. If you have the intentions of starting an NGO because you want to travel, you're going to fail, and you're going to fail big time because of the intention. So intention, what I want to say is intention matters. However, you don't get to your goal without passing through the process. A lot of people are so quick, they don't go through the fire. A gold becomes refined when it goes through the fire. You must pass through mentorship. You must be able to learn. You should apply yourself to work. And one of those ways is by, working with people, working with organizations, understanding the system. If you don't understand the system, it doesn't matter whatsoever life endeavors. I give another example. When I started out as an environmentalist, I thought I knew it all. And I started a consultancy. I failed. So you must go through the process. I'm talking to young persons right now. Don't be in a hurry. Okay? Wait for your time while you consciously work to get to that level. Just have a dream, be focused on your dream, go through the process. If you go through the process, you get skills that will keep you at that level when you get there. When you get to that level, you see it's a different ballgame entirely. I tell you the truth. I think Raphael will be able to speak more to that. So I wouldn't advise anyone to start an NGO just because they want to travel abroad. There are other means travel abroad, and it's like I said, it's quite very simple if you have mentorship and really understand the process. Sometimes it requires research. Just like Raphael said, just like you have in an organization, there's also the culture. Institutions, research institutions, universities, there are also institutions, there are organizations, there's also a culture. You must do your research. It doesn't come overnight. Okay? You just need to find the time to really do your research, your due diligence to understand what does it take to get a scholarship. Okay, if you ask yourself that question, then you'll be able to outline a plan. You must have a plan. A lot of persons, my friends, would see me today and they say, "Oh, you're in the United States of America, help me get there." And I laugh. I said, it's a 10-year plan. It was a 10-year plan. It took me time. I sat down, I said, you know what? I graduated with a class lower. I told myself, I'm getting there no matter what. But what is the plan? And it was a trajectory. I didn't go to OAU by mistake to have a postgraduate in food science technology. It wasn't by mistake I found myself at the University of Ibadan. It's never a mistake I found myself in the United States of America, or the kind of ad hoc work I did to build my resume. You see, all of these culminated into me having a strong application at the end of the day when I wanted to put forth my application. And that has been what gave me where I am today. So I didn't get to where I am today overnight. It's a process. And if you're in school, you could start that process now. You could have a definite plan and start ruminating on what you really want to do. Starting from what is the kind of research you be doing as an undergrad? Is it a research that answers a specific research question? Is it research work that is publishable? Because I tell you, my first exposure was a fellowship, not even for a master's. I traveled to France for a 6-week fellowship, a prestigious course called European Research Course on the Environment in Grenoble, France. My thesis work I did at the master's level gave opportunity to attend that program. And I tell you, by the time I attended that program, I met world-class scientists, people I read their articles on top journals like Nature. I met them there. And I was able to pitch, you know, some of my proposals, some of them right there. And as a matter of fact, I was supposed to be City University in Hong Kong just by getting, you see, it's a process, but you must be able to plan. Okay, it starts with what kind of research work am I going to do? Is it publishable? Does it give me leverage if I want to travel abroad? Because I'll just quickly go through the process. You know, you need to research the school. You need to look for a faculty who is going to be interested in you. What are the kind of letters do you write? Don't just write emails. It's not just email. Your email is like your pitch statement. It tells you what do you have. Okay, do you have plans to publish your work? Because these are the things that will speak to you and give you a strong. And someone will say, yes, I need that student. You must know. Some students get direct PhD offers from their undergraduate. It depends on how strong your research work is. Does it speak to recent events? Is it current? Okay. So these are the kind of plans you want to have. I'm already answering your second question, advising on education, using a consulting agency. Now, having a one application, you will need mentorship, for example. For some of us, we didn't really use mentors, but you could see how long it took us, okay, to really get it right. And I tell you the truth, we share our successes, but if I tell you how many rejections I got, I can't tell you. It's not maybe more than 45 of rejections. It can really be disheartening for you to see those getting those rejections. But for someone like me, I have this try. I'm not afraid of failure, but I'm extremely terrified of its risks. And so I don't look behind me. I look forward to the prize. And maybe that was my driving force to get where I am. But you don't need to go through all of that. If you have someone as a mentor who will guide you through the process, right? He will be able to tell you what I want to do. For example, we have a common favorite, Michael Macaulay. He's very experienced with packaging students who want to get scholarship, the Commonwealth Scholarship, the Chevron scholarships. For one like me, who have gone through the process like United States of America, I will be able to take you through the process, step-by-step process. Okay, how do your statement of purpose? What are the ingredients that should be in your statement of purpose? How do you build your curriculum vitae? How do you reach out faculties? Faculties in this sense are what we call lecturers in Nigeria. How do you start up your application? When do you start your application? Okay, these are steps you will go through. Your kind of the recommendation letters you get. Sometimes the kind of recommendation letters we get from Nigerian faculty, my brother and sisters, it's nothing to write home about. You need to see what recommendation looks like when you a faculty from the United States write out they are so detailed. And sometimes we take these things for granted. Getting admission, getting a full funding is a whole package, and of these you must have this together. So you need you want to use consulting firms, okay? It helps you through the process. If not, if you can sit back and really do the research and listen to programs like this, I have some videos you want to also do, fine. But if you really want to get it right and really know where, how, and get some of these materials, yes, you will want to use some of the consulting agencies. They are all not that expensive. Canada, your thought is centered on Canada. Yes, Canada has some very good schools, just like the United States. But if you want to, I want to advise. I wouldn't want to tell you I'm a expert of all these areas, but the United States of America, for example, there's no nation has funding like the institutions in the United States of America. There are over 5,000 universities in the United States of America. most of them, you get at least some partial funding, if not full funding. Unlike in the UK, where it's the Commonwealth Scholarship, it's the Shervin Scholarship, and if you do not graduate to one, you're not getting into any of those scholarships. But in the United States of America, it's a whole package is quite different from UK. You see, there are two different things. You need to understand the clients. Also, like in Canada, and the things you will need for those applications, they're also quite different. For example, you're coming to the United States, you want to do credential re-evaluation, because the Nigerian scheme is designed on a 5-point scale. You want to do your WACE application. When do you start your WACE application? Because it takes time. You need the GRE. You want to really, you want your strong application. You want to start preparing for your GRE. How do you prepare for your GRE? When do you prepare for your GRE? These are things you also want some insight from persons who have gone through the process. So GRE is important. WACE is important. Okay, even if you are going to immigrate to Canada, also it's important. IELTS, they are also very, very, very important. But what I would say is, you have to, starting point is to have a plan, have a note, write down, atomize what you need to do. So you start thinking of the check boxes so that you submit your applications in time. If you really need funding, your applications coming in October. For international students, it's usually December 15th. For some programs, maybe January 15th. It's very, very competitive. So you need to start early. You need to get it right. You need to go through your applications very, very well. So I will leave it at that. We'll take maybe more detailed questions when it comes to these specific areas as well in the program. Thank you very much.
Okay, so thank you very much, Boss. From my own end, I'll be asking, I would just love to ask 2 questions. So, and of course, the question goes to both Raphael and yourself. So, for Raphael first, when it comes to, to choosing a career, now, you already shared information as regards what it takes, of course, in terms of culture, what organizations look out for in terms of culture, what the kind of questions they probably ask, how want to prepare for interview. But there's a specific question I want to ask now. When organizations, of course, are recruiting, particularly for graduate training positions, they are not like very focused on, okay, you having a specific career path. It's always open-ended, so you can easily apply so long as you fit in their basic requirements. But the question I want to ask now is, not everyone is fortunate to get a job, to get a good job that helps them forge a career path. For example, if you get a job with KPMG, even if you study engineering, it's obvious the career path you are seeking. You are obviously going to become an auditor, a tax consultant, a financial advisor. But for this happens only in few cases. In many other cases, people have to, take that responsibility themselves of identifying a career path for themselves. So for you shared a story on how, of course, your passion and the interest you developed during the HRBP training and employability program you went through helped in at least helping you to identify a career path. So how important is this now, looking at this competitive industry? How important is it that you think undergraduates and fresh graduates should know specifically what they want to do with their life? And how can one begin to identify what one can do with our life? Now, taking cognizance of the fact that to a large extent, your course does not determine what you can do. So how do we build that kind of that awareness of, okay, this is what I want to do with my life, and how do I get to that point?
All right, thank you very much, EldaDavid. I think for anyone who is going to be an employee, like you rightly said, a lot of times, a lot of people just become actually accidental employees. By accidental employees, I mean you just apply to 3 organizations, 3 different roles, and then one of them picked you, and then boom, you just went to that one, and that's how you just started your career, and then that's what you keep pursuing. Now, for you not to be an accidental employee, I think the fundamental thing is for you to, from now, define what fulfillment is for you. Now, every individual in life would have something that would make them say, yes, I have done well for myself. And those things are actually quite different and distinct from individual to individuals. So, for example, Aliko Dangote, fulfillment to him may not even be the fact that he has a lot of money. I think one of the things that will make Aliko Dangote fulfilled is when he buys Arsenal Football Club. But today, he has not been able to do that. I don't know if any of you have been following the story that he has been trade Arsenal. He really wants to buy Arsenal Football Club. So maybe when he does that, maybe he would then say, yes, he's now a fulfilled person. Who knows? Now, for me as an individual, what would make me to be fulfilled is quite distinct from what would make, say, for example, fulfilled. Now, currently, I am Assistant Learning and Talent Manager for Africa for PZ Cussons. If myself and Essay were to switch roles right now, and Essay comes into my position, and then I get into what Essay is doing, if through my position, Essay rises to become the CEO of PZ globally, and then I rise to become the most renowned professor in environmental studies and the rest of them, because what I am doing or what I have achieved wasn't what I intended to originally set out to do, I would never really find fulfillment. And the same thing will go for Essay. Now, Essay as an academia will not really be concerned about, I don't know if some of you notice that a lot of your professors actually earn as much as he do, but they love what they are doing. They find content. And so that's where fulfillment finding becomes very, very important. So what that means is that you as an individual, first, you must plan out what we call your fulfillment journey. And then you must be self-aware. What are those things you would easily do for people? Even if they do not pay you for them, you would still do. So for me, for example, I found number one for me was teaching. So even if you do not pay me, even if you do not give me money, I would easily warm up to you when it comes to come and teach people for me or come and impart knowledge. I would easily warm up to you without anything. So number one thing is find out those things that you would easily do, and you would be fulfilled that you're doing them, such that even if you're not being paid to do them, even if you're not getting any material gain, you will still be happy doing them. And those things can only be defined by you and you alone. Now, sometimes the challenge is that the things you have defined may not really be everywhere, may not really be present at the moment. Now, Esther mentioned something. He said the journey is not really straight. So there are different paths to getting something done. So the fact that you're going to point B doesn't mean you have to, or let's say the fact that you're going to point G doesn't mean you have to go through point A, B, C, D. For people, they will go from A to D, and then they will come back to C, and then they will jump to F before they eventually get to G. And for some people, they will just keep going from A to B, B to C, C to D, slow and steady like that until they get to the point where they're going. So a lot of times, once you are able to identify the things you really want to do, then ask yourself, what and what do I need to do to get to this place? What and what do I need to learn? Or what and what do I need to know? What skills do I need to possess for me to get into this special role I want to do for myself? So say, for example, you studied finance, and then you've discovered, after doing a personal awareness analysis of yourself, you discovered that your strength is actually in human resources, and that is what you have passion for, and that is where you think you would have fulfillment. Then you must then define a plan that will help you to get into human resources. Now, that doesn't mean that you cannot take a job in the interim as a finance person. You can take a job in the interim as a finance person while you plan your exit into becoming HR professional. So what do you need to do? You need to take a free course on Allison for diploma in human resources, which was exactly what I did. So when I discovered I was going into human resources fully from microbiology, the first thing I did was to say, okay, how do I get into this thing? And then people will not say that you're a science student. How come you're just doing this? So I had to say, okay, let's first do diploma in human resources, which I did. After then, I had to obtain international certifications. Now, I'm not saying Nigerian certifications are not good, but people would respect you more. People would think you are a lot more validated when you can show international certifications. And so I picked that ahead of any Nigerian certification, which was exactly what I did. So number one thing is for you to exactly define those things that you think will give you, or you know would give you fulfillment. Now, what are those areas of work that are currently available or that may be available in the future that would help you to get to those areas? So if, for example, you are somebody who would love a lot of integrity, you don't want people cheated out of their money, then you can say, in this aspect, and I've studied maybe say banking and finance, or I've studied microbiology even, you can decide to say, okay, I think I would really love to do something about auditing, catching people when they are not saying the truth and all, things like that. Now, the fact that you have studied microbiology does not mean you cannot become an auditor. You can actually still become an auditor. All you need to do is to have a plan. It could be a long-term plan like Ese did. Ese told you he had a 10-year plan. That was what took him to where he is today, which means that you can actually define things and take them one day at a time, step by step, until you get there. I think for a lot of people, what causes frustration or what causes them to think they are not moving at all or moving forward in life is when they begin to put on themselves the pressure of achieving what they should have achieved in 5 years when they want to achieve them in 1 year. Now, because you see your mates doing this, because you see them doing that, you must understand the fact that your paths are totally different, and how you will get to your own path as a result of where you are today will be different from how your peers will get to their own path as a result of where they currently are also. So number one, define exactly those things that give you fulfillment. Number two, identify those things or those kind of job roles or job groups that relate to those things that gives you fulfillment. After identifying those things, then define a path, let's say a learning path or a growth path that will take you into those careers. Once you do that, then identify the necessary skills and competencies you would need to get into those roles. Then begin to build on those competencies. I hope that answers the question.
Okay, so thank you very much, boss. That was extremely very detailed. So quick one for essay. I guess you can hear me, essay. Okay. So now for those undergraduates, let me put it that way. For undergraduates that they graduated from school, you probably worked for a few years, or even if you not worked for a few years, but you intend wanting to pursue a PhD program, a master's program abroad. So my question now is this: can you advise for people that don't have a master's? Now we know that in the United States, universities in the US allow you to apply directly for a PhD program without a master's degree. So you can apply for, but of course, it's not just about applying. Like you earlier said, there has to be a purpose attached to it. You have to show forth, some form of value that you have, and some more value you are giving, and some more value you hope to give when you acquire this knowledge. And for many people in Nigeria, we both know that many folks cannot afford, a full-blown university education in terms of trying to pay the school fees and, of course, getting living allowance. So sometimes it's either you become a graduate assistant or a research assistant just to enable you, of course, get the education and at the same time maintain living in the United States. So my question is this: for a graduate that has just graduated, for someone that has just graduated, for someone that is just starting up in life, and wants to pursue a PhD program directly as an option. Now, what would be the advice you would give? Now, looking at your experience so far, you were fortunate to have worked for a while before you left. You also did a master's program in Nigeria before you left. But I've just graduated and I'm thinking of doing a PhD program upfront. I don't have an experience, but I'm very clear about what I want to do. So what advice would you give for people like that?
All right, thank you very much for the question. But quickly, before I'll go into your question, I would just quickly want to add to what Raphael said before I forget. While he was talking, I was writing down. His submissions were very apt. I also want to advise students who are listening right now, because like he told us, it's not about doing a particular course, but you have to scan and know exactly what works in your environment. If you really want to excel in Nigeria right now, and in most of the clients, he talked about soft skills. One of the soft skills you want to take very importantly is data analysis. Data analysis. Everyone can be a data analyst, and you just have to build up your skills in that. Okay, you could use Excel. There are different ways to do data analysis. I would advise you use free avenues like Coursera. There are a whole lot of free courses in Coursera to build your career in data analysis. It's very, very accommodating. You can finish the course at your own pace. Please make yourself available of these avenues for you to really build up your soft skills, especially in data analysis, because no matter what you're graduating with these days, even with an MPH, a lot of people, they want to see, can you handle data? And big data is a big thing right now in the world. So how do you work with some of these skills like R, like Stata, like Excel, advanced Excel? These are very, very important. Forget about your degree. Forget about your degree. What people are looking at right now, soft skills, most especially the world is driven by data. And so there's this ample opportunity for persons who have these skills. That's a quick one, right? I believe that's very important. I dropped that. Number two is, yes, you could be an academic and also be a very successful business person. I love academics very much, but I'm also very business inclined. So there must be that balance, because you need to survive, you need to take care of things. Now to your question, David, as to you just graduated, you worked a few years, you intend pursuing a PhD. It's very, very possible. If you're in school, make sure, like I said, come up with the top grades, because at the end of the day, it's your grades that will speak for you. You won't get that opportunity if you graduate with a 2-2. That is the truth. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, would love you to share, like, take again what you just said. The question, we didn't hear the beginning part.
Okay, the question is, you're a graduate, you've worked a few years, you intend pursuing directly a PhD. I would love to start that. First and foremost, I would not advise you to do that. Okay, your chances are really, really slim if you want to do that, because you'll be competing against very, very more advanced students with advanced course requirements who have really covered a lot in the US. And so your chances are really, really very, very slim. Not that it's not possible. I've had people who went through that, and it's very possible. But again, you have to graduate at the top of your class. So if you're in school, take your studies really, really, really serious. And you can also, contact persons like us on how to package your admissions, and it's very, very possible. However, I want to advise that make plans to do a master's degree. Master's degree doesn't really take time, okay? Sometimes when you think about these things, we overthink it. We think it's really long. 2 years is nothing. For crying out loud, I remember the first day I landed in Ibadan. That was in 2012. That is 8 years already. I finished my coursework in 2013. I mean, it was the bureaucratic system there was crazy, and I did my presentation, my oral presentations in August. But that was 5 years ago already. So I tell you how time flies. So I would advise students, make plans to go for your master's degree. If you have a master's degree, it makes life more easy for you to really travel. And I tell you, just before you're finishing your final semester, you can now start your application. So immediately you're finishing, you're transiting to the US. In 3 years is not far from now, 2023. The next election year is 2023. So you'll be surprised if you start making your plans now. By 2023, you are ready to get out of Nigeria to come get some quality mentorship and education, you know, and one of the blessed places you want to be on earth. Okay, so my advice is get on a master's degree program, a relevant master's degree program. Be intentional, like Raphael said about it. Be intentional about the kind of project you want to do, because you must have been researching, you know, the kind of programs you want to go into, right? And you see the kind of papers those particular faculties are working on, because it's very specific. Your searching is very specific. It's like marketing. You have to do it really right. So when you see the kind of research that you want to start off your, you know, maybe the pilot study, that kind of stuff that you can handle, because it's also very expensive to do a research work in Nigeria. There are no grants. These lecturers don't want to help you with anything. So most especially you fund your project, but you can work within your project and come up with something that is really tailored towards, you know, the career goal. Mind you, you have to align yourself with the research interest of the faculties. It's not what you want, it's what they want, because they have funding, and their funding will always only pay for the research they get the funding for. So you have to be, you know, strategic in your career path in that area. So basically my advice is simple, EldaDavid. Get on a master's degree. It only takes 2 years, you are done. But if you graduate with a very good grade and you have a very good GRE score, GRE score is also very, very important. You don't just get there. A very good GRE score with a good resume, okay, you'll be able to get a PhD directly. But it's not for all programs. It is not for all programs. I must put it. It is not all programs. Some programs require you to have a master. So it depends on what area. For example, in public health, you may not be able to get that. No, nobody's going to take you straight from biochemistry to a PhD in masters in public health. You must have gone through a master's program. So I think that answers that for
Thank you very much, boss. Okay, Raphael, I sent a question to you directly that was asked by Omowumi. When you stepped out and came back in, I believe you went to the question again. So please, I just sent the question to you directly. I guess you have seen it from your end.
Yeah, I've seen it now.
Okay, so you should answer. You can read out the question first, then answer it. Well, everyone knows what you're talking
about. Okay. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
So I just saw a question from EldaDavid now. Now the question is, how can one be part of a strong community that fosters growth and access to, that makes you have access to opportunities? And this person said he would love to ask, how can one support and access this kind of communities as a recent graduate? The truth is that, okay, let me tell you this. Okay, I'll give you 2 other life laws now. Number 1, how far you will go in life will be determined by 3 things. Let me say 3. Number 1, the God factor. So let's say the God factor is available to everyone. But then there are 2 other important things. Number 1 is the books you read, and then the friends you have. The books you read, and then the friends you have. Now, you've been hearing, I'm sure all of you must have heard something about connections. Yes, of course they do. Connections can get you what labor can never get you. And that is why you having the right people in your network matters a lot. Now, the books you read talk about what kind of knowledge must you have to be able to have advantage in the, say, in your quest to get to certain places in life. So I will give you a very practical and exemplary story, a story of me. When I finished from the university, and then I was to go out of the university, I was to graduate. I was throughout my school years into politics school. So I was a student union government secretary general. EldaDavid was not officially a political person, but he was always in the political sphere. He knows everyone there. I mentioned someone earlier, God bless. God bless used to be the student union government PRO. In fact, we contested against each other. I lost against him. I congratulated him the night he won, and then I joined his team to be part of his committee. The following year, I won my election as a secretary general. So by the time I was graduating, God bless was already working with, was already serving. And so when I came into my service year, I met God bless in Lagos, was serving in Lagos, and he was the president of OBS, what we call the broadcasting studio we had then, the CDS group. When God bless was leaving the CDS group, God bless handed over to me as the president. So by the time God bless left, God bless became a staff of AGDC. So when I finished, well, I think it was even God bless that even introduced AGDC to me. So when I went and I was going to be interviewed for the role, guess who was going to interview me? God bless. So it was definite, it was a sure thing that God bless was going to pave the way for me to AGDC. And I tell you that had it not been for the fact that I was able to get into AGDC, I cannot tell exactly what my path would have been right now. So God bless helped in opening the way, so to say. So look around yourself today. The kind of friends you keep, are they the kind of people that you just gossip around with, or people who can actually be of value to you, who can help you open doors? Now, the truth is that the people themselves may not be able to do the things you want directly, but they would, or they may know somebody who knows somebody who can do things. So for example, I know that if I want to get things done in so many African countries or in Abuja today, I don't need to sweat too much. I will call to EldaDavid and say, guy, do you know somebody in this place? If he himself does not know somebody there directly, he will know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody there. And that's what we have been doing with ourselves in the past few years after we graduated from school. So the opportunities have been hovering around like that. So what that tells you is that your circle of connection goes a long way. Now, when you have the connection, when you have people, how do you relate with them in terms of the kind of skills you use in relating with those people? Now, do not go out and jumping on people for favors. Don't say because I know this person and this person knows this person, then I must ask them for a favor. The truth is that nobody owes you any favor at all. Nobody else owes you any favor. But the kind of disposition you have towards people would tell how they are also willing to relate with you. The number two thing I would tell you is this, that people do things more for emotional reasons than for functional reasons. People do things more for emotional reasons than for functional reasons. Now, wherever you find yourself, one life hack you must master is you must be able to connect to people at an emotional level. You must be able to connect with people on an emotional level. That is why one of the greatest skills you need to learn today is emotional intelligence. Now, people would go out of their way to do things for you or to favor you because they perceive you as somebody who is emotionally stable. They perceive you as somebody who can hold his or her own. They perceive you as somebody who is accountable, and so on and so forth. Now, all these things are embedded in what we call emotional intelligence. So it is not just about you having the right kind of people around you. It is also about being to manage them properly in such a way that when you need something from them, they will be willing to go the extra length for you. Now, I'll give you, I've given you the story of myself and God bless. So I'll give you a bit of story between, say, myself and EldaDavid now, for example. No matter what it is I am doing, once Elder calls me and says, Raphael, I want you to help me do something like this. If it is not clashing on with maybe say any program I'm doing that day, I will definitely go out of my way to do it. The simple reason is because I also trust the fact that if I say, Elder, I need something like this, I need something like this, he would go out of his way to do it. I know a couple of times I would see Elder send out a message on some of the things he's doing, and then, of course, he has not asked my opinion, but I will call him up to say, Baba Alpha, I saw this thing, don't you think you should tweak it this way? Don't you think you should do it this way? And then he will say, oh, thank you, bro. So what that means is that you should watch out for other people's successes also. Do not just somebody who is to receive and to receive and to receive. You also must be willing to give. When people need people to volunteer for them, to do things for them, put yourself out there. Volunteer, help people, so when you need their help also, they can easily lend a helping hand to you. The truth is that there is no really strong community anywhere. The strong community you can build is always at an interpersonal level. And so, for you to be able to get to that level where you can ask people to do something for you, and then they will be willing to go out of their way to do it. Or for you to be able to get to the level where people would see opportunities and then they will call you and say, I think you should take a look at this. I think this would fit you. I think you should be the one in this kind of position. It would be because they trust the fact that if you see the same thing will benefit them, they trust the fact that you would also do the same thing for them. So it comes with a lot of trust. It comes with a lot of investing emotion. It comes with a lot of building trust. So whoever you have around you now, no matter how powerful the person is, if they do not trust you, if they do not have an emotional connection with you, so among me, what I'm simply saying is, whilst it is good for you to know people, for you to connect with people, I know one of the things a lot of you do these days is you see politicians or you see people that you perceive as strong, and then you go and then you take selfie with them. Do not fall. I have once been like that, and I regretted it. You know why? Because I should actually have leveraged some of those connections to do great things for myself. But then I understood it very late. But for you, it's still very fresh. So you have somebody like EldaDavid mentoring you right now. You have met some other people. Your aim should not be to take selfie with them. Your aim should be, how do you get these people to trust you, to be able to reach out to you whenever need be, in such a way that they can help you and can leverage on their strength. And I said the most important skill you need in terms of the soft skill in this area will be your emotional intelligence skill. Your emotional intelligence skill, and then number two, your communication skills. I don't know how many of you can walk up to Dangote, or you meet Dangote in an elevator today, and then you will be able to create a rapport such a way that he would want to talk to you the next time. That is something you should develop. You must develop very, very, very sound communication skills, and then you must develop emotional intelligence skills. Now, how do you develop these skills? Read, 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 and read, and then practice a whole lot. Practice a whole lot. If need be, attend training programs. There are some training programs that are free. There are some you may need to pay for. You need to invest in yourself for you to be able to get some of those things. So when you do these things, then you can be sure of acquiring the skills. The good thing is that all the skills are transferable. All the skills can be learned. You can unlearn things and you can learn new ones. So you can actually learn to be a very good communicator. You can learn to be very, very good, with your emotions. If you can, even if it's just those two, you can really do good communication and emotional intelligence and very good interpersonal skills, which is also embedded in your emotional intelligence. If you can learn those three basic skills, I can assure you that anywhere you find yourself, any community you find yourself, you would most likely be open to a lot of people willing to go the extra mile for you and willing to help you, even without you necessarily asking. I hope that answers Mama Ome's question.
Wow, that was very good. That was very good. Thank you very much, Paul. So just to buttress a little of what Raphael has said, Essay has said, we must understand that our relationship has not also grown just because we knew ourselves as undergraduates. It has grown because individually, we've grown as individuals. I met Essay on Facebook. So, and we connected, and it's yesterday because of the value I know he has. It's not just because, I liked him on Facebook or because he liked me on Facebook. It's majorly because of the value. So, it's something we must realize that, just like Raphael said, nobody owes us anything. No matter the people you think you've done for them, nobody owes you anything. So, you owe it on yourself to ensure that continually, you are building value for yourself. So, and Raphael has highlighted the way you can do that. The knowledge you get, the skills you get, the certifications you get, the experience you gather, and as you get all of these things, obviously, actually, it will help you, in building yourself. Somebody also mentioned something about LinkedIn, emphasizing the point about LinkedIn. It's critical that, for every one of us, we should be signed up on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is an excellent avenue for you to showcase, the skills, your growth as an individual. 5 years ago and 5 years today, I believe where Raphael is way different, where I am is way different, where our essay is way different. And those are the ways you can measure, the growth you add when you're able to have all of this information on social media, on LinkedIn itself. Many of us, we assume that, LinkedIn is just a platform, or even Facebook is just a platform where we socialize. Now, trust me, myself, Raphael, essay, we have places, we joke, we crack our jokes, we laugh, and we do everything. But when it comes to our social media brand and identity, we are also very intentional about what we want people to know in terms of what we do. So yes, we can joke, we can laugh, but the brand identity on social media is key. So some of you, your real name in real life is Chinagoro Chipamdu, but on social media, you hear about La Queen. You hear names that bears no bearing to your original best name, of course, which comes to your official document. So it's quite very important that we understand the place of social media, be it Facebook, be it LinkedIn, be it Twitter or Instagram. But of course, if you want to build a professional career, particularly those of you targeting to go abroad for your studies, LinkedIn is a powerful place to build your presence. Because with LinkedIn, when you connect to a professor or to someone abroad, it's easy for them to authenticate who you are when you have an active online presence. So the question I usually tell people is, once in a while, even if it's once a month, Google up your name. Now, don't Google up your name on your laptop or your phone, because the results might not be a reflection of who you are, majorly because you are signed into your system. So use another person's phone or laptop. Google up your name. Now, when you Google up your name, of course, it will give you a clear reflection of who you are. So you check your images, check the news, check the web. Googling up your name, it makes it exciting. Like, you see what the internet or what people have said about you. And trust me, if somebody Googles up your name in the US or in China or in the UK or in Kenya or in Uganda, it is the same result that we get if someone checks out your name, even in Ajigule or in Oshodi or on the island. So it's very key. So I don't know, Chizoba, do we have extra questions? Because I can see a lot of comments. So do we have extra questions? Okay, so I will open the floor for Priestley. Priestley, I think I've raised up and said you want to ask a question. So Priestley, I'm unmuting you now, so you can ask your question. Okay, so Priestley, I think you should have asked to unmute at your end. Okay, Priestley.
I am okay.
Okay.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay. Thank you, for the opportunity. Mr. Raphael, thank you very much for all the insights you shared, and Mr. Essay, thank you too for all the insights. We are coming to America soon. Okay, so I want to quickly ask a question because I heard I was actually being removed from the, I guess my network was very bad, so I was being logged out and in, and so I listened to some of the things Raphael said, and I would want you to give more insight into some of the things that you said, because I've had the challenge of so many people starting up a career path because they are passionate about it. That is what they want to do. If they are dreaming, if they are sleeping, they are dreaming and everything. They think about that. If you even ask them to walk from Lagos to Benin or to Abuja, without being paid, to just do that thing that they want to do, they would love to do it. And most of the time, you find these folks after 2, 3 years, 4 years, and the Bali is not coming. It becomes a very huge challenge, and they find it difficult to even find how they find it difficult to even see why they even started that career path in the first place. So I want you to maybe expatiate on it and talk to people who would actually find that, would actually meet that stumbling block on the road, how they can, withstand that. Because sometimes you really want to do what you love, but 5 years down the line and you're not getting the money. So, what's the wait period for anybody who's getting into a particular career and it's not working, and you check everywhere, it's really not working. You're trying to do your best, you're trying to make it happen, but it's not just happening. So how do you keep, it's just like somebody who's getting married. Sometimes when you're getting married, there's this butterfly, you love this person, you can even die for this person, but 2 years into the marriage, you're already thinking, how did I even get involved with this person? So please help us help the people who would face that challenge in the future. After 3 years and the career path we're choosing is not working, what sustains us? How do we keep on? Thank you.
So, thank you very much, Christy. I guess, Raphael, that would be a question for you.
Okay, sorry, I'm still muted. Okay, so can you hear me now?
Yes,
Priestly Baba, good to see your face again.
Thank you.
All right. So I think that's actually a very, very, very good question. The truth is, there is no fast and hard road to life. You will be shocked. I'm sure most elder, priestly, and essay who are already doing things and earning money will understand this very well. That you can be doing something in one organization and somebody else is doing exactly the same thing but in another organization, and the person is earning ×4 of what you earn. So for example, I know very well that my counterpart in Shell, for example, today, earn maybe ×3 or ×4 of what I earn. Now, does that invalidate my own dream as a person, or does it invalidate my capacity as a person? Of course not. Now, life is all about opportunities, and that is why you need to constantly be on the lookout for opportunities. Now, when the opportunities are not there, and you have done 3, 4, 5 years, and you're still not seeing a breakthrough, you've not started seeing the big salary like you expect, I think the very first thing you should do is to determine what is the market average for this job you're doing, so that you don't get to put yourself under unnecessary pressure. So for example, if your company pays you 100,000 naira for a particular role you're doing, then it will be good if you can scan around and find the market average. So if your market average, for example, is saying 150, so what that tells you is that your company is actually really underpaying you. So begin to then ask yourself, what do these people that work in these companies have that I do not have? Why are they earning a lot more than me? The truth is, everything boils down to value and opportunity. For some, it is just pure luck that you find yourself working where you get well paid. And for others, it's a function of the perceived value you have. So you need to really determine what the exact problem is. So if the problem is the opportunity, then there is really nothing you can do about that. So what you can do, or the best you can do about that at the moment, is to see where you are as a place of preparation. Seeing where you are as a place of preparation in terms of do your best, learn a lot more, try to expand your knowledge such that when an opportunity comes for you to be able to get into the big organizations, then you will grab both the opportunity with both hands. Now, there is one president, I think Abraham Lincoln, that once, I will prepare myself. When my time comes, I will be ready. So what that means is that wherever you are, life generally is in a state of existence and a stage of development. So always see life that way. Always see your career that way. That you, your entirety, your entire being, yourself as a person, you're guarded by what we call law of loophole, which I just said, which states that life is in a state of existence and a stage of development. So things can actually really get better. But when things are about to get better, when the opportunities come, will you be the right fit to take those opportunities? So for those of you that will get into a job and then 3-4 years down the line, okay, let me give you a practical example. My wife currently works with Ikeja Electric. I used to work with Ikeja Electric, and I am not happy because I know the kind of work she puts in. Now, the salary they pay her when she just got into the organization as a fresh graduate is what they still pay her, maybe just 5,000 naira addition. That's 3 years ago. Now, me as an individual, I am not happy about that at all. But does that mean my wife does not do her work well? Does that mean she doesn't fit into the class of people who can actually do more and earn better? Of course not. The only thing right now that I perceive is that it's an opportunity that has not come. So what I started doing with her is, okay, baby girl, you know what's going to happen? I think you need to leave this company. And why you need to leave is because if you do not leave, your career may be plateaued here. Your career may just be progressing slowly. Now, if you need to leave, what do you need to do? You need to acquire some other kind of skills that will be sellable in other industries. Now, the fact that you are a finance professional with A and B Nigeria Limited and you are doing well does not mean you will be a good finance professional when you go to KPMG. I don't know if you understand that. So that was what he said, value comes into play. So the value you carry from one company to another, or what another company will see in you, and then say, okay, you are worth paying amount for. It's quite different. It's something that should be visible, something that people can easily see and say, yes, we are willing to pay. When I was moving from, another practical example, when I was moving from Ikeja Electric to PZ Cussons, I demanded a 100% increment in pay. My line manager at Ikeja Electric told me I should not go. And I asked him why. He said, because he feels I am not ready to hold the kind of position they want to give me. And then PZ Cussons were saying, okay, what would you earn? And I told them what I want. What I told them was ×2 of my total package at Ikeja Electric. You know what? They paid. They paid me what I wanted. I got into PZ Cussons less than 3 years ago. And right now, between then and now, my salary at PZ Cussons had increased by about 150 to 180%. It is all about value. So if you get the right kind of value, people would definitely see you. The current employer you are working with may not appreciate it, but you will get to a level where people will say, if you need somebody as good as this, go to that person. There's no how. Once you prepare yourself so much and you're so good at what you do and you dish out knowledge, people recognize value. Value is like gold. It's like light in the darkness. It can even be recognized. So that when you say, or when you stand in front of people and you speak, or you speak at an interview, they would be willing to go the extra length to bring you in. So the deal is, keep doing what you're doing where you would find yourself if you are not, if you think that they are not really bringing up the kind of money you should be collecting. But while you are there, to just stay grumbling, keep rebranding, keep recreating yourself and getting to be better at what you do. And one of the best ways, the easiest way for you to do that is through your LinkedIn. I make sure every now and then I check my LinkedIn profile. I try to do better than I was yesterday. Every single day I have an opportunity to improve my LinkedIn profile, I go ahead and do that. What that tells is that your employer knows that your value is increasing, and then a potential employer also knows that I can pick on this person and get this person as a great addition to my organization. So whenever you find yourself in that state, don't lose hope, don't lose focus. See it as an opportunity for you to stay, develop yourself, and add more skills while you wait for the next big opportunity. I hope that really helps.
Thank you very much. Raphael. That was an excellent answer. So the summary of that point, just like Olumayowa or Olumayo summarize, people pay for value and results. Nobody can deny good results. And yes, even if you're giving good results, and of course you're not getting the commensurate value you want, it does not matter. You keep doing what you do. An opportunity where, of course, your value will be appreciated will surely be along the way as you keep building. So I think that's very key. That was the summary of everything that Raphael said. So yes, I'll go back to Esther now. So he can ask questions. Okay, there are some questions that were asked to him directly. Then more importantly, the question on emotional intelligence. How can we learn about emotional intelligence? How can we be emotionally intelligent? So let's say we attend to that now. Thank you very much.
Okay, yes. Just very quickly, like I placed on the comment section. Sorry, my line went off. I thought I plugged my laptop, but unfortunately, I didn't know, but it just went off. Sorry for that if you were trying to get across and you didn't get me. However, straight to your question, emotional intelligence. One of the resources I love people to make use of is the Coursera. I don't know if you guys have heard about Coursera platform. There's a whole lot of resources you will get from Coursera. Coursera is a resource that has a lot of information. Just sign up and try to see if you can see courses as it relates to emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence, I think I was doing a course on strategic management and health management, and that's where I came across that word, emotional intelligence. I can't remember the test now, but maybe after now, I would be able to get that book. It's a wonderful book. I think it's very expensive, maybe $10 to $15 online. It dealt with it, emotional intelligence, and how to really go through the strategic process. So some persons are putting some other places you can get that, Udemy, EDS, and what have you. So make use of that. Now for the Coursera, you may be asked to pay for courses. Don't be quick to pay or run away to say, oh no, it's expensive. No, there are ways to go around it. I have never paid for any course on Coursera. I always go to tell them that I don't have money, I'm a student. And if you can make your arguments very well, they will give you a waiver and you will get those courses for free. So like I said in the comment section, never be scared to ask for waivers. Always, white people, they are very straightforward, okay? Always send an email, write an argument to say, oh no, I'm interested in this course, I want to do this course, but I don't have the means to do so. You always get a waiver, whether it's Coursera and anything you do. Make sure you always ask. There's no harm in asking. Two things are involved. It's either a yes or a no. But one thing I know, like the OAU students will say if you don't try, you will fail. If you try, you might win. Is there any harm in trying? Keep trying, keep pushing. There are a lot of resources out there. Then you can also get resources from someone like Raphael, for example, may have books he want to share with you, EldaDavid, or whatever network you have. Talking about networking quickly, it's important. Your LinkedIn page, it's not about even opening a LinkedIn page. You also be intentional about the kind of information you have on your LinkedIn page. I'm just trying to quickly drop a point on the LinkedIn page you talked about. Look at the pages. What's the structure of other persons? How do they structure their pages? Be intentional about it, okay? Go there, look at how they pattern their work and how the write-ups and all that, and try to see if you can pick up a sheet of paper. I didn't say plagiarize. It's not good to plagiarize, but you can get a cue, okay, from how, they structure their work. And let me tell you, there's a lot of things we do that we think is not important, and we just throw aside. Everything you do, every single thing you do, please be intentional about putting them in your LinkedIn, in your CV. It's not about how you polish it. It's English language, okay? I collect data, and I'll tell you, I wouldn't say data collector. I'm a research assistant, okay? What did you do? You start having 4 bullet points on what exactly you did. But someone may just look at it, it's not just data I collected. I helped the research, the principal investigator in the handling of research tools. You see those big English, what is the tool? This questionnaire, okay? So you must, but if you don't look at the pages of, people, how they pattern these things, they write to those big English, you see, hello, you've done a lot more than they've done. So you have to be intentional about what you do on your LinkedIn and on your Facebook page. Then again, I really want to talk. See, if you don't have a professional email, open a new email. You see some people write essay for love at gmail.com. If you send me, if I have a job application, for example, and I have 4 emails and I need to take one, even though you have the best of everything, I may not open your email if I see something, essay for love 2010. No, professional email, Raphael Akinte at gmail.com. Essay Freeman at gmail. That does not mean I have a lot to. I have Friki Efizi. I have this kind of email, but I can never use it for professional purposes. You look very unserious. Okay, people judge you, okay, by your email address. Again, you're writing emails. A lot of you just go there and you just type the way you chat. The way I chat with EldaDavid as a friend is different from if I want to respond, to his invitation, for example, for this kind of project. I will have to be very, very formal. And, your subject line. What is your subject line? These people have a lot of email. You should be able to catch the attention of someone. People don't know how to write subject line. Later, an application for social job reference _ references. It looks very simple, but very professional. So be intentional about the kind of mails you write. The content of your mails also matters. Not too long, not too short, but structured. Okay? If you're seeking for admission, for example, your email is like your statement of purpose, an abridged version. You want to introduce yourself as a Freeman Oghaghare. I have a master's in blah, blah, blah. So my research work was and so on. So having gone through you're telling the person now you've read work, having gone through some of your research papers, I think our line of interest intersects. I really like your work on, you see, telling the person you've read the paper, I really like your work on so and so and so and so, and I think we can come up with a research proposal on so and so. I'm proposing. Let it be, let it not be, the person will look, okay, this person is concise, this person is serious, this person is detailed. And I got a call, for example, from this kind of email from a top professor from UCLA. I tell people I'm supposed to be there. If I really want to be there, I can be there. For some reasons, I chose it other schools. But she quickly read my email and booked a Zoom call for the next day, okay, just by email. So you have to, like Raphael said, he has said everything, but I'm just trying to buttress and EldaDavid, you have to be professional. There was a time my Facebook post was really, really very bad. I was just, but these days, if you go to my recent stuff. I'm very intentional what is on my Facebook. Like David said, people will judge you. I have never met David before, if you must know, personally. But what attracted me to him was his Facebook page, the content in his Facebook page. And I have some people like that. I look forward to read their post every day. EldaDavid is one. Sorry if you must know EldaDavid. I stalk you on Facebook a lot. Okay. Because I like your content, right? You see, I've seen Raphael, I've heard about Raphael Akinte today. The first thing I want to do after now, is to go on LinkedIn and type in Raphael Akinte. It's going to tell me what, and I'm going to take him serious or not with the kind of content he has there. But I'm very sure the kind of content he will have on his LinkedIn page. So like I said, it's very, Ted Priestley is doing something else, and that really caught my attention. I've written down Priestley's name because you know what I'm going to do after now? I'm going to go on LinkedIn. What does Priestley, Ade, whatever is there, has on LinkedIn? It's going to tell me a lot. And if I'm interested, I pick up his email and say, hey, hello, Priestley. You know, form of introduction, networking has started. I need to meet you personally for me to network. And that's how we started. EldaDavid connected me to Macaulay, and we've having those kind of, and the network keeps growing. Secondly, if I'm also buttress quickly, a lot of people don't want to pay. Sometimes you don't need all of the money. When I was in Ibadan, sometimes I come from Ibadan to Lagos to attend Social Media Week. I've never known EldaDavid, but I know who must have been in that center, Lekki. What was that name of that place that do those programs again? The event center there. I'm always there. I want to see the viewers. I want to see this person speak. Yes, I've seen them online, but sometimes I just go there and watch them. I see how they handle the stage. I say, okay, I think I can do something like this. And you start building yourself, you know, towards public speaking, writing. A lot of students don't want to write. They always want to write you, please help me. I have friends who will tell me, help me write a statement of purpose. I don't do that anymore for free. But even when I want to collect money from you, I tell you, you know, you're doing yourself harm. When I look at the kind of write-ups I have some 5 years, 6 years ago, and I'm like, Jesus, so you mean I wrote this? And then I thought I was a superstar. But I can see the improvement these days. And I know when I look back in another 3 years, what I'm doing now, like, are you serious? Was this what I was thinking? You know, so you must be intentional about writing. Keep writing, write, send to friends. Don't be scared. Write up something and you can say, David, can you help me take a look at this? What do you think about this? You will surprise the kind of input. And by the time you do that, that's what we call peer review. Always speak to your peers, okay? It helps you in deepening the process. So David, I will leave it at there so that we can attend to other questions.
Okay, thank you very much, Steve. So, Raphael, I guess we'll wrap it up now in the next 5, 10 minutes. So, please, Raphael, just final words of advice for our participants.
Okay, to everyone listening, I think if you would ask me for anything like advice, I would say, if you have not been doing anything before, then the time is now, and then you have the right tool and connection right now to do that. If your head has not been telling you before now that you should hold on to EldaDavid and try to spank your tentacles through him, then now is when you should really be thinking about it. You can be anything you want to be. You can grow to be whoever it is you want to become. You alone can define how long and how far you can go. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, boss. So, briefly, can you confirm that I sent my message to you?
You said?
Can you confirm I sent a personal message? Can you check?
Okay. I'm actually in another, trying to meet up with my team also. Okay.
Look, this is my message. That's on chat.
I think it's a file you sent, Abioda.
No, I just sent you a direct message. Briefly. Okay, briefly things have disappeared off.
Sorry. I think my network is really
Okay, are you
Okay,
there?
okay, okay. I've seen your message.
Oh, it looks like Presley has disappeared. Okay, so okay, depending when it comes back. So just to let's say I'll be speaking for just 2 minutes, a little on entrepreneurship. So you get to wrap up essay also with the last statement. So, but just because we are meant to have a third panelist, so I was supposed to speak about entrepreneurship, starting up as a small business owner. But unfortunately, he seems to have bad network where he is. So he hasn't been able to connect directly. But so I would share a little detail about him because I've also known him for a while. I knew how he started out and I can speak at least to his history. So first and foremost, for everyone out there, his name is Emmanuel Faleti. Emmanuel Faleti. You could Google him up on your own later. And I would also share the name generally for everyone, Emmanuel Faleti. Emmanuel Faleti basically does, he's into footwear, shoes. He makes shoes. And, you know, the good thing about Emmanuel Faleti is Emmanuel Faleti doesn't make shoes, the roadside kind of shoes. I remember buying one of the shoes some years back, and the cheapest shoe I think he had then was probably about 16,000 naira. Now this was like probably like 4 years ago. I'm very sure that today Faleti has probably gone a little higher in terms of the shoes that you know he sells out there. But now, what's the point I'm trying to make? Oh, sorry, I actually made someone. So what's the point I'm trying to make? You know, Emmanuel Faleti started off his shoe business while he was selling. He studied something else entirely in a university in Benin Republic. And of course, he decided he wanted to venture into business. So the first opportunity he had there was when the BOI provided funding for core members. And of course, the idea he presented then was the shoe making, the footwear making business. And, you know, Emmanuel Faleti attended a particular program. He did well with the grants that was given to him, setting up a little manufacturing in his house. And of course, today, Faleti has been able to grow that business. Now, I know that some of the things he did then, now, beyond doing so well with the grants, the BOI, you know, decided to carry him as an ambassador. So whenever the BOI had an extra program that with extra funding, Emmanuel Faleti was always the person they would call, you know, to come and they would showcase him as one of their success stories at the presidential villa, at the event governors attend, events they had anywhere in Nigeria. This guy would always be the person they showcase. And there was something he was always doing then. You know, whenever he made shoes, particularly for celebrities, he would go there, take, you know, the shoes, explain the concept behind the shoe, and of course, hand it over to this particular celebrity, take a picture that he shares on social media. Now, some of the lessons I can pick from what he has done is the consistency in showing excellent results. For some of us, you know, we seem to take excellence, you know, doing things excellently with levity. We don't seem to pay attention that even the little details matter. And you know, these are the kind of things I tell my colleagues. In the little things we do, if you think, oh, I can do it anyhow in that manner, trust me, if that's the same attitude you carry on, even as you get bigger opportunities, it is the same way you would behave. You will take things for levity. You will not be excellently minded. So it's important that for every one of us, you know, excellence should be the watchword, no matter how you feel, even when people are not watching. And that's something I can speak for when it comes to the shoes that Emmanuel makes. Today, Emmanuel also runs an academy that teaches people how to make shoes. Emmanuel employs about 15 plus persons in his factory where they make shoes. And of course, looking at where Emmanuel started from as a small business owner to the entrepreneur he is today, trust me, Emmanuel has maintained consistency and even gone better in terms of the packaging, in terms of the appeal, and in terms of course, the way they also service their customers. So it is very important that for every one of us, no matter the business idea you have. Now, you must know this. Emmanuel didn't just start out making shoes like that. Emmanuel actually went to a school to learn about shoemaking, where he learned as an apprentice. Now, this is for a graduate that ordinarily we would say, God forbid, I can never learn. How can I become a shoemaker? So it tells you that with technology, with the advancement we have today, no business is unconventional. Every business, trust me, we can get into any form of business. But the whole idea is there's a path for you to learn. So for those of us that say, oh, I want to become an entrepreneur, I want to get freedom. The truth is there's nothing like, oh, becoming an entrepreneur for the sake of freedom. If you need to work somewhere to build experience for yourself, please work somewhere to build that experience. If you need to intern in an organization to build little business experience, intern. If you need to work as an apprentice, work as an apprentice. If you need to work as a full-time employee, work as a full-time employee. Now, when you work, it gives you the credibility you need to start off that small business you want to venture into. And there's something must realize, there's a big difference between being a one-man business owner and being an entrepreneur. When you work in an organization, you will learn about processes. You learn about corporate governance. You learn about financial processes. You learn about logistics, supply, like all of those things dependent on the sector you're working in. And of course, dependent on the business you're interested in. So please, for graduates, for undergraduates, for those of us that are working, never rule out the importance of gaining some level of work experience, some level of apprenticeship experience, even if you think you want to venture into business. No matter what you do, it is extremely valuable when you work in an organization, and of course, you can transfer that skill into a business that you do by the side. Now, the good thing is, depending on the kind of business you do, some jobs you have can even enable you. Employ someone, a core member that can even work with you. And of course, all of the lessons you learn in your workplace, the processes, you can begin to adopt them into your business. But of course, I would advise you to go and start up a business that is in the same line with the organization you work in. That's what they call conflict of interest. You wouldn't want to do that, unethical. So if you're going to start up a business that's in line with the job you have, then work, gain your experience, and of course, resign before you start up the same business. So that it doesn't look like you're stealing the customers of your organization to probably start up your own venture. You don't want your own staff in future doing that to you. So I guess this at least is like the generic advice I can give when it comes to at least starting up as a small business owner. So to conclude, I will pass on the mic to Essay to at least give us a point of two, just to wrap up from the academic component point of view. So Essay, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, EldaDavid. That was very insightful, and you said it all. As a form of conclusion, and just to give you a general overview, first, from all I've said, I want you to also know that in your search for scholarships, most especially full funding scholarship, you must be intentional. Very important. Number two, have a notebook where you have a checklist. Okay, in your checklist, you want to research universities, programs, there are various programs of studies, what are the eligibility for the studies. For each page, like I did, I will have a school, University of Columbia, New York University, and I will have the eligibility, every particular thing they need. And I go through the list. What do I have? What don't I have? What are the admission processes? Have a book where you have your checklist, okay? Where you research as many universities as possible. The next on your list should be your credential evaluation. When do you start? Which of them do you use? I would advise you use WES, the World Evaluation Services, right? Educational Services, WES, WES. Please, you have to start early. It takes a lot of time for the back and forth processes. The next thing on this is you want to establish a communication with an institution. Having research institution, research the program, identify who you want to work with, and like I said, you write an intentional, well-structured emails to these faculties, introducing yourself. Okay, you prepare for and write GRE exams. Okay, normally it takes 3 to 4 months. If you're working, you want to have 6 months to prepare. The exams is standardized exam, so you must understand the process. You have to work not just on knowing it, you also have to work on your speed and your accuracy. So it takes time to really practice. The next is you now start your application. Starting your application would mean that you start writing your statement of purpose. Your statement of purpose is usually a 1,000 to 1,500 words, 2-page, single-spaced, with at least 5 paragraphs. I wouldn't want to go through all of these. You want to contact me personally if you want some more advice and consultancy on what should be a compelling, writing a compelling statement of purpose, please, that should be on your checklist, because each of these you have to be ticking them. The next is, who are the list of your recommenders you are considering? Have a list of people you want to contact. You don't just want to tell anyone. Some persons may damage your career because you don't know what they are writing. You have to be sure who is recommending you and what is the content. Sometimes you have to, sorry, I have to say it, you have to write for them. Nigerian professors, you have to write for them. Please, it's unethical because you're not supposed to do so, but if the need arises that you need to provide the content for them to put on their letterheads, please be intentional about that. Then you go on to review, rewrite if possible, submit on time, and relax and be hopeful. 7 key things to note. Graduate fellowships have early deadlines. That's why I said you should start early, between October and February. Most of the external fellowship funds, they fund only a year program. The first year, which is your coursework, your first or your second year, for those of you who are considering PhDs. So that's why it's important to have funding for those years before you translate into a faculty fund. So you want to be funded during those coursework. In the US, it can cost you, for a 2-semester for your PhD, it can cost you about $27,000 at 450 naira. You know what that means. I don't think you're able to afford it, but if intentional among with all of these, with start early, you're able to get full funding. There is more competition for external fundings. External fundings are those that are provided by foundations like the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, non-profit organizations, but sometimes good if you can have those external fundings. I also have resources I will be able to share with you if you get across on some of these external fundings that you could use to augment, because sometimes the funding they give to you as a graduate assistant may not pay for all of your expenses. Hello, living in the United States, people don't tell people the truth. I like telling people the truth. It's very, very expensive. You pay bills, you pay for your heating, you pay, I mean, to be on this call right now, every month I spend up to $50 every month to do that. Heating is a problem. You have to pay for your gas, you pay for everything. It's not cheap. It doesn't come cheap. Nobody gives a free dollar. Everybody expects you work for your dollar. That is why they are a very successful nation. So you have to be intentional about your funding. Assistantship are usually the primary source of funding. I think that wraps it up. And what again is, what I would say generally is this: whilst you are waiting, to make these applications, make yourself relevant. Don't say there is no jobs. Sometimes you don't need a paid job to have something on your resume. Like Raphael and EldaDavid said, you do some jobs to build skills. You do some jobs to build your resume, because at the end of the day, people want to ask you, why is this gap? What have you been doing between this now and now? And the past and now. You must be able to tell what you've done, what values you've added. And sometimes it's not all about the money, it's about building skills, about building networks. So you have to be intentional about that. Get a good CV. There's a difference between a research CV and a job CV. You want to know what the difference are. You want to get really prepared for your application. It takes time. It's intentional. And I wish you the best. And I want to believe these resources are there for you. Reach out to us. I will be glad to help out. Thank you very much, EldaDavid, for the opportunity.
So just to conclude, please, Esme, what's your LinkedIn profile name?
Once you put my name as a Freeman Oghaghare, it pops up.
Okay. So,
like I said, you won't see any other thing than my name. S.A. Freeman Oghaghare. Those are my full name.
S.A. Freeman
Oghaghare. My middle name is Freeman. My first is S.A. E.S.E. My middle name is Freeman, F-R-E-E-M-A-N. Then my surname, Oghaghare. It pops up. You'll see me.
So thank you very much for all of our guests. I guess it was an honor having everyone of us here. It has been a learning session, at least for me as an individual, and I believe that for every other person also, as we picked up very important lessons that we can apply in our careers, in our small businesses, and of course for those that want to further their academics. So just to at least give a general form of announcement, this mentoring program takes place once a month, every last Friday of the month. We get to host a session like this. Ordinarily, this event should take place in the University of Lagos at our Center for Entrepreneurship Skills. It's like a physical event. But of course, coronavirus has taught us we can even utilize webinars to also host events like this. So obviously, even when university resumes in Nigeria, we're obviously going to be doing this both physically and online. So this we can always stream this online. So please, if we share our Facebook link of our page, Nirmala Chellarams Centers for Entrepreneurship Skills. You can easily search us on Facebook, follow our page. Once every month, we would always be doing this. And of course, we have lots of other programs that we're going to be unveiling in time to come. So I appreciate everyone for being part of this webinar. It has been exciting. I can see that the attendance has been consistent from when we started at the beginning. So that's very good. So to every one of us that actually tuned in, that came in, I thank you very much. To our panelists that took their time. Specifically, I want to thank SA. It's in New York, and it means that this is just about 6 a.m. In New York. So it means that you have to wake up around 3 o'clock just to be part of this. So we appreciate you both for taking your time, sacrificing your sleep to be part of our webinar today. For Raphael, we also thank you very much for being a part of this. Thank you very much to everyone. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful afternoon, a wonderful week. The event has ended. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you. See you guys.
Bye.